Hello, hello. Welcome to the Global Citizen Therapy Podcast, the podcast for women of color who are daughters of immigrants to feel seen, heard, and validated. My name is Nancy Diaz, and I am a trauma-informed therapist, speaker, and your podcast host today. And now, let's jump into today's episode. Okay, let's do this. Let's really get into it. I'm so excited because I feel like this is the first time since starting the season 4, all about sex, sexuality, sexual health. I feel like this is the first time that I really want to get into some of the questions that people have, but also share a little bit about my story because I think that the more that we have these conversations, the shame will die, right? The more that we'll actually start to feel like we're not alone in this. The more that we talk about these topics, the more normal it will feel, the more likely we are to be able to talk to friends or maybe even family, to talk about this with our therapist, to just get it out in the open, right? So, yes, this is the safe space, right, where we can actually reflect on our own experiences. And if your experiences are similar to my own, then I am so glad because that's the whole point of me being open, honest, and vulnerable is so that you can actually feel that you're not alone. Because, I started this podcast thinking, like, wow, who's going to want to listen? Because I'm probably the only one with this experience, right? And I think for so many daughters of immigrants, that's something that we can relate to. And whether you're an immigrant yourself or you don't even fall into that category, but there's probably something here for you to take, right? So today we're definitely going to be talking about all things that bring you shame, all things that bring you confusion around sex, all these feelings of guilt and shame that oftentimes are so intertwined and mixed up in there that we don't even know. This is a question that I sometimes ask my clients is it shame or is it guilt? Because I think as daughters of immigrants, we've been familiar with both of those feelings and very intimately familiar with those feelings since day one. I think since we were born, right? I mean, it's ridiculous how much that stays with us, how much it follows us, and how much it shows up in so many parts of our lives, right? Whether we're ashamed of dating or who we're dating, or whether it is that we're ashamed of, the career choice that we made, or having kids or not having kids, or whatever, like our sexual orientation, or there's just so many things, right? So many things that, sometimes it feels like even the smallest thing will cause guilt in us, right? Whether we choose to go to that family barbecue or not, or that wedding or not. And there's just so many things, right? And I think, for a lot of us, our immigrant parents have taught us that that's okay to be guilt tripped, right? Because probably their parents were always guilt tripping them into doing things, as a way of controlling. And I think that for so many of us, when we're young girls and even now as women, we think that that's okay, to feel guilty for and to feel bad for setting boundaries, right? And for not wanting to do things because we think, oh, well, our parents sacrificed so much that we should just listen to them.